السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، وعافنا فيمن عافيت، وتولنا فيمن توليت، وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت، وقنا شر ما قضيت، فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك، إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت، تباركت ربنا وتعاليت، فلك الحمد على ما قضيت، نستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم، وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amen. We have discussed the 12th word and come to the end, but the last paragraph is a very interesting concept. We didn't have time to study that concept, which is the mystery of the necessity of the Prophet Muhammad's ascension. This one in bold. Why the ascension is necessary and how it is related to the Quran's message. And this ascension of the Prophet Muhammad represents the superiority of the Quran over any other manifested speech of God. At first glance, it doesn't seem to be related, as if it is the Prophet's ascension, it is his personal experience, and has nothing to do with his mission. This understanding is supported, nourished by usually the description of the ascension among the Muslim community, because usually it is understood how the Prophet was rewarded with the status of ascension, and he received some verses there by traveling through the creation until the end of it, but not touched to the other side of it. It means end of createdness, but not into creatorship. That is ascension. Ascension represents the whole universe. It is mission. It is content. It is what it really refers to. So the Prophet's ascension means the Prophet's message, Prophet's mission as the Prophet, the messenger of God, encompasses all the reality of creation, created beings. Therefore, his mission covers everything. That is why the revelation entrusted on him encompasses the reality of the creation, how it introduce to it human beings, conscious human beings, to the creator of the universe with its all qualities. It means within the mission of the messenger of God, the ultimate purpose of the creation is explained as to be the sign and evidence of the qualities of its maker. Nothing is left. Ascension comes to the Qawsayn in the language of the Quran, to the last point of createdness, but not into the creatorship, which means all the creation points and verifies the reality of its qualities of its creator. If we understand the ascension in this sense, it is really a reference to the superiority of the message of the Quran over any other speech of God, including inspirations to conscious beings and other revealed books. Because in the ascension, if you don't mind me saying this, in the ascension story, it is not a story. I'm not saying it is not real or something. I don't mind however it took place. None of my business. My business is to understand what it signifies for me and what it teaches me. In this story, it is told by the Prophet himself that he met on the way to ascension some other great prophets mentioned in the Quran, major prominent prophets mentioned in the Quran. But he passed over them, which means human beings' capacity were not able to comprehend the whole message that the universe represents, and they were somehow not really reflecting the ultimate, absolute reality that the universe refers to. Somehow, according to the capacity of their people, their age, capacity not human as human potentiality, the comprehension capacity of the reality of the universe. Now, as we see, every day we are experiencing new layers of unknown reality of the order of the universe, nature of the universe, and we can easily use the Quranic methodology to understand how they refer to the qualities of its maker as signs, because the universe is nothing but a sign, or you can simplify it, but a signpost showing what it is referring to. So that is why the Quranic message, as it claims to be the ultimate message, because there is nothing more to be explained about the purpose of the creation of the world. That's what we understand, how ascension is related to the subject. So Asim writes, how do we understand the last point in creation, personal to each individual? it is potentially, you can, because the message of the Quran is comprehensive. It is stated, the last point in creation is being assigned to its creator in all aspects, demonstrating and letting us know what they are referring to. Last point in creation not necessarily is a word which is used in physical term. Last point in creation means the last message, the ultimate message that the creation of the universe refers to. Ultimate message that human capacity is already immense, infinite, and the universe, as far as the human capacity is concerned, infinite. Thus, we human beings can develop our capacity to comprehend the all message that the universe conveys to us. That is why it is important for us to understand all the descriptions of the Quran, not in physical terms, but the meaning they have in their existence. So human consciousness evaluates this meaning and can reach, potentially is able to reach this, what they refer to in its ultimate way, ultimate sense, not physical. It doesn't mean that we are arguing here ascension took place physically or spiritually. None of our concern. We are concerned with why the Quran is so a comprehensive book which transfers all the reality that the universe represents and the ultimate purpose of existence to teach us, to conscious beings, what the universe refers to. That's so simple. We shouldn't really get into the discussion of the ultimate, as you said. Let me see, the last point in creation. Yeah, it is very simple. You are potentially, not a personal to each individual, yeah, you are potentially given this capacity, and now human beings will develop, improve this capacity to the point that all the universe functions in such a way to perform their purpose of existence, which is to teach human beings who the creator of this universe is. Farha says, we can say that ascension represents the human experience of the message of the Quran completely. Potentially, yes. Potentially, yes. And also, if we use our potentially as we are using our potentially immensely every day, a new discovery of the universe is introduced to mankind, and studying the universe means studying how it is made, therefore disclosing the qualities of its creator. So we should separate from this. We will study now in the 13th word soon. the interpretations of certain people of their findings, discoveries, depends on their subjective understanding. You may agree, you may disagree, but what is found out in the universe refers to the qualities of its maker, and you have to decide, you and I have to decide whether it is true or not. This is the ultimate message of the Quran, as corresponds to the infinite potentiality of human beings. So we are expected to pay attention to how the universe is coming into existence and what their function is. So the Quran teaches how to utilize the universe, how to utilize human feelings, so that we human beings will be able to fulfill the purpose of our existence. Without the witnessing of the universe, without taking notice or paying attention to the quality, to the potentiality of human nature, the way human beings are created, we cannot benefit from the Quran. Quranic teaching speaks to me and conveys the message that the universe is reflecting in its existence. Physical experiences are just a means of comprehending what the message is ingrained in it, in the creation. So we have to always be concerned with the message reflected in the creation, which is nothing but to demonstrate the qualities of its maker. I hope that clarifies this very important subject. We have to be extremely, I'm just making 3 times emphasizing on the importance of this word that I'm going to use, extremely careful not to get or dragged away, carried away by cultural, religious information. We have to watch out. It doesn't mean that everything is wrong, but we have to watch out. First, there may be some right, and there are many misunderstandings, misinterpretations, and mostly it is presented to common people. That's why their presentation is extremely shallow. And I don't believe none of you will be satisfied with this shallow understanding if we wake up to our senses and think or take our existence seriously and decide not to claim anything without an evidence. Evidence witnessed in creation, either outside of human beings or within human feelings. There must be an evidence. Without evidence, I should not speak at all. I have to speak by showing how the universe is demonstrated. So, for example, I have to understand the ascension, which is called in Arabic language, Mi'raj, although this word is not a Quranic word, but it is commonly known among the students of the Quran, and no one rejects it because the meaning is correct. So this ascension, I can understand by looking at the universe and trying to decipher the meaning of meaning conveyed in the universe through using my human beings. I can go into the deeper and deeper meaning in the existence of the universe, referring and introducing its creator to me. I think this subject, we can pass on the 13th word, which have many things, many points that we have to talk about. But if you have questions, concerns, something bothers you, doesn't make sense to you, please write it or briefly state it in speech, inshallah. So, 13th word. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. And we send down, stage by stage, in the Quran that, which is a healing and a mercy to those who believe. Before jumping into the second verse, we have to bear in mind that 13th word is going to be a commentary on these two verses. So we will pay attention how these two verses are introduced, understood by the author and how he explains it to us. First of all, we have to pay attention to the sensitivity of the language of the Quran. It doesn't say sent down. It uses the present tense. We sent, we do this, we do this. وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ, not وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ. It means it's a continuous event. It is not, this disclosing of God's knowledge to us is not taking once in a historical context, all the time. As the Quran is continuously renewed, as the universe is continuously renewed in its existence, and it is every moment disclosing the qualities of its maker, introducing them to human beings. The Quran also is revealing its message alongside with the universe, and every people in every age, at every age, in every place, they will be able to understand the message of the universe alongside with the guidance of the speech of God, if they pay attention to the guidance. It means if they declare that they need it. So Quranic revelation is the message, not the revelation to the prophet. So the prophet decides it. That is an historical event. But the quality of the Quran, the essence of the Quran must be coming from the creator of the universe, as it claims to be. So we have to question whether really it can be the speech of the creator of this universe and helps me to understand the purpose of existence of this universe. This is the point, so that I will fulfill the purpose of my existence. In other words, that we have to pay attention to Here we send. We send. We are sending. It means we sent. We did stage by stage. It means disclosed the guidance of humankind in their real life experience. So we have to discover this guidance, which is presented to human beings in the course of our life story. Every time anything happens, we have to go back to the Quran and seek guidance from it and understand what the message of the Creator that I'm experiencing through this kind of creation. Stage by stage, yes, the Quran was revealed during the Prophet's life, 23 years, but this is an historical event. What does it mean for me? In principle, I always have to ask this question. What does it mean for me? It means I will discover the guidance of the Quran stage by stage as I experience my life and what's going on around me. I cannot claim in a, how do you say, in a bundle, saying that whatever Quran says, I believe in it. That would be definitely a lie. Nothing to represent, it represents no truth at all. Why? Have you experienced? Have you confirmed? No. So which kind of claim is it? But it doesn't mean that we have to deny that some parts I don't know, so I don't know. No, have a good faith. It claims to be the word of God, the guidance of God. And say, let me see. Throughout my life, continuously, unceasingly, check myself, my understanding of what Quran says, whether it makes sense to me or not. It doesn't mean that I should be always in doubt, in suspicion, whether the Quran is right or not. Nothing to do with it. The belief is confirmation. If one event demonstrates that, yeah, the guidance of the Quran helped me to understand so that it made sense to me. Yeah, continue. It didn't finish. This point made sense to you. Keep your trust, but at the same time, don't claim that you have understood everything, all the message that the Quran conveys, and you are confirming it. No, thus far, this book guided me to the right understanding and satisfied my reasoning, my intellect, my feelings. If it did. If it didn't, what kind of claim is it? That's why we have to be careful about our speeches. Of course, as far as my experience goes until now, I am satisfied with the Quran as the speech of my Creator guides me to the right conclusions, teaches me how I should benefit from my creation and the creation of the universe in order to fulfill the purpose of the creation of the universe. The purpose of the creation of the universe cannot be, it is material form, because material form continuously changes and I have nothing to do with material form as far as my infinite expectations, feelings are concerned. My body is related to the world. That's why if my body needs energy, what I do, I take some material things and drink them, eat them, breathe them into, inhale them, etc. Whatever the physical activities are needed, I have to do it. Otherwise, my main function is not to satisfy my body. My main duty is to satisfy my human side, my humanity. So I have to be careful how to interpret what I am experiencing in this world. That is, whatever we say here, mostly somehow not very commonly known in the community or in the public culture. That's why we have to be careful in this class and always ask this question: what is new that I learned from this class that I spent 1 hour? Whether is it worth or not? If you think that it is not worth it, don't come. But if you think that it is worth it, then join and be extremely careful about the message, because it is not common. I personally, when I read a book, or nowadays very famous, watch a video or join an activity, I look for it, whether it is really something new for me or not. Information-wise is new. For example, giving me detailed geographical structure of Japan. Yeah, I didn't know. It taught me something new, but how about the purpose of my existence here? Am I really see my existence as to discover the geographical structure of Japan land? So what? I have to ask, but if this discovery tells me or discloses to me that they are so miraculous creation, so look how wonderful the Creator is introducing himself to me. Yeah, it is worth it, because it is something to do with my understanding, with my intellect, with my feelings. And I will say, oh, that helped me to understand better who my Creator is, how he favors me. Otherwise, material side of the information is none of my business. But if I see that I can interpret it, apart from the presenter's interpretation, if I see that I'm benefiting from it, then it is my purpose of learning this. Otherwise, I don't know whether I am too old to decide to come to this conclusion. Most of the things which are presented to us in the name of religion is just repetition of what we heard before. And they are just shallow introduction of religion and baseless claims of being a believer in Islam, which is called Muslim. Just because we are Muslims. That is why I'm very sensitive about this point. Now, the second part that I put it in bold, it is a healing. The Quran is a healing and a mercy It means just out of compassion that acknowledges my weakness, my createdness. So that is why my creator say, okay, let me help this creature in order to fulfill its purpose in this world. That's mercy to those who believe. This word is interesting. Be careful here. To those who believe is a noun, lil mu'minin, not a verb form. Amenu, men amene, or men amenu. Those people who believed in past. What does it mean? Noun form qualifies the content, whatever it is referring to, a continuous and constant condition. For example, if I say, I am an engineer, it is my profession. Even while I am sleeping, doing nothing, I am an engineer. Not only referring to one event, but if I said, I engineered this machine, oh, I'm referring to one event. We have to be careful with this delicate difference in the Quranic language. Here, the Quran is a healing and a mercy for a person who is constantly engaged in the teachings of the Quran and arrive at a conclusion that, oh, this teaching is really correct, fits my nature, and I confirm it. Then, up to now, I am a believer. Not I believe it in the Quran. I am a believer of the Quran. Up to now. Did it come to an end? No. If you are an engineer, you keep practicing it. Today, you may be practicing, but you can. Or you may not be practicing, but you can practice. Tomorrow also you can practice. For example, I'm an engineer today, but tomorrow I'm not an engineer. No, it is your quality. You have to be constant in this mission of confirming your conclusions. Although it is not the purpose of our class to study linguistic, rhetorical significance of the Quran, but this verse, in order to understand this verse, we have to pay attention to these 2 points, that the Quran is continuous revelation in its meaning, disclosing its meaning continuously to every person, in every status, at every time. That is why it was important. If I am going to benefit from the Quran, I must be continuously engaged with the message of the Quran. But at least if I'm not aware of its language, at least with the meaning, I, as a conscious being, must be aware of the mission of the message of the Quran and look into it on every occasion that I am experiencing. For example, I saw something here. See, does it really refer to its creator? Does it really remind me it is creator? Or am I taking a right communication with this existence? Always questioning, awakened, situation that we have to be in. Okay, I think the points I want to discuss about this verse, because this verse is going to be interpreted, understood as the commentary in the following pages. And we have to pay attention how the verse is explained, interpreted, and how can I really refer this explanation to my real life experience. We have to bear in mind these 2 points. All right. This one, the second verse, which is from chapter Yasin and verse number 69, we have not instructed the prophet in poetry, nor does it mean for him. It means it is not an literature exercise, flowery language, beautiful language, but not necessarily conveying the reality, the truth in whatever it's talking about. Exaggerated languages, etc., etc. We have to be very careful. Quran's words sometimes sound as exaggeration. Hyperbole, I think they say. It may sound that, but we have to understand the purpose, and it is hyperbole. I don't know the pronunciation really. Form. What does it mean? We have to think why it is so exaggerated language. So we have to see the wisdom in it. If we question it, we can understand, because Quran is an address to human feelings as well as intellect. Intellect can analyze anything presented to it. Analyze it, but can it really finalize the conclusions? May not be, depending on which criterion it is using, or how we are directing our intellect to work for and bring evidence to me. That is somehow, we can call intellect as a tool in the hands of human free will. But human feelings, now, human feelings automatically function. Human feelings are not dependent on human free will. Although what the feelings may bring to us, present to us, may be under the direction of my free will, interpreted in the wrong way by applying my intellect to find out right or wrong evidence for it. I may interpret it in the wrong way, but human feelings function without the restrictions of human, what did I say? I think this statement was wrong. Human feelings function without the restrictions of human free will, but human free will may decide to misinterpret it in order to satisfy my ambitions, or leave it free, let it freely convey its message to me, open up what it represents to me. So if I decide that all what the human feelings introduce to me, under the pre-accepted decision, prejudice that I'm not going to accept the reality, the truth, but only interpret it as I want to declare my independence. It means declare that I am not a created being. I am not dependent on somebody else's will to give me existence. I exist by myself. Then what human free will, what human feelings bring to me, I force it and direct it to my intellect to find out a way of justification, but it will never, ever have any truth, any true, real evidence to be justified. Made up stories, if you like. That is what we are going to hear, how the Quran's message presents the reality and how human ambitions, egoistic, egocentric interpretations present how the universe is functioning. One of them will be called Quranic worldview. The other one will be called, as the second paragraph says, the sciences of philosophy. Look, not to study the universe last week or I don't know, not last week, maybe last Wednesday, maybe, I don't remember in what class it was, we talked about it. Universe represents the reality, the truth. The act of studying how the universe is presented nowadays with the term of science. Now, interpretation of the findings of the functioning of the universe is interpreted philosophy of the scientist himself, herself. We have to make distinction between the universe, investigating how the universe is working and which kind of message we can derive from it, and how the person presenting the functioning, the way of functioning of the universe is called philosophy of the person who is speaking, this subjective idea. But universe is not subjective in and of itself. It is what it is. Exactly, it is created. The way we interpret it is subjective to us. That's why we should be extremely careful not to confuse what the universe is referring or disclosing, exposing to us, what the person is speaking about it presents with its own language according to his own philosophy. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but we have to make the distinction. For example, if I see the universe and understood and interpreted that it is really manifestation of the qualities of its creator. That is my conclusion. That's my interpretation. It is subjective to me, but I may be sure of the truthfulness of it. That is my problem, not your problem. You have to think about it from yourself, from within yourself, and come to a conclusion for yourself. Don't take my conclusion for granted. Don't take a person who presents to be the scientist, the language which are used nowadays, as the representative of reality, the fact of the universe. Although they are talking about the universe, but not necessarily they are talking about what exactly the universe is functioning, or what exactly the universe is revealing its message in its existence. But when they talk, they speak of their own philosophy. So if you want to compare, if you want to compare the results yielded by the wisdom of the all-wise Quran, look, yielded by the wisdom of the all-wise Quran, what the Quran is disclosing to me, and of the sciences of philosophy. It means the scientist's own interpretation. But in this case, because we are going to study the contrast, by definition of this nature of the content of this text, we have to make the distinction between the sciences of philosophy or true understanding of the universe. It means true nature of the universe, what the nature of the universe is revealing. So we should understand that the sciences of philosophy means the person's personal interpretation of how he concluded about the event he discovered. He may say, it may look impartial, even if I say, for example, now give me the simple example of my classes. Very simple. This class has two, glasses. This frame has two glasses. Is it an impartial statement? Any idea? Come on. I said, this glass has, or this frame, not to confuse the word glass, this frame has two glasses or two handles, whatever you call them. Is it the right question, right statement or not? Does it reflects the truth?
It's still your subjective statement.
Explain, please. Good.
So, okay, if I had not seen these glasses and you had said that this has two mirrors or whatever parts, I would only be able to, it's from your perspective, from your understanding, from your conditions that you make that claim. My confirmation of that claim will also depend on my subjective experience of those things.
Okay, I think it is understood. And if you don't mind, I would say it is not the point. Why? Don't be frightened, don't be, discouraged. You said it, what you understood, but the point is, this frame has two glasses, or these glasses have two handles, these ones. I think they are called handles. I may be wrong. I'm not good at English, you know that. It is wrong. The reason is, it's an interesting topic. The frame doesn't have it. It is made with two glasses. The trick of the language of the scientists nowadays, cheating people because of the language they use. And especially English language, like other I don't know the most of, I know just a little bit of French. And also in French, they use it, the word to be, which is called être in French. So, for example, this frame has two glasses. For example, I am sick. Look, I am sick. I to be sick. Because of the ambiguity of the language, the Arabic language in this sense, maybe other languages as well, are very sensitive about the structure of the sentence, especially verbal sentence or noun sentences. There is no verb. It is interesting in Arabic, they say, ene merid. Not ene, am in English, to be married. No, ene merid. The verb depends on your interpretation. I'm not saying merid, to be ill, in Arabic, does belong to me as my functioning. My action, verb is not there. So you say, no, there are two things now, a person and the illness. How am I going to connect these two things together, not referring the act to me? I am sick. Look, what I did, I referred the action to myself. But in the Quranic language, and the message of the Quran says, merid, or to be ill, is an event, is a phenomenon, and I is a phenomenon. How are we going to connect it? Depending your interpretation, depending your philosophy. It means how have you decided about using your free will, whether you are attributing the sickness to me as my action, or I am created as a person. Illness is created as an independent phenomenon. It is the actor's act to connect them together, come next to each other. The scientific language is nowadays connects the me with my illness, does not acknowledge that these two events are separate from each other. That's why they say this frame has, again, the functioning of to be, has two glasses. Quran says, no, it doesn't have two glasses. It is made with two glasses. The agent is not the frame. You cannot attribute the action to the frame. And the scientists say, accidentally it happened to be like this. No, it is a conscious choice. That is the language we should be aware of. So any statement, by the way, as referring to Farah's comment, any statement a person does is subjective. You may say, nature works in this way. You may say, this event is given existence in this way. both of them are subjective to you, your conclusion. But one of them represents the truth, the other one represents the falsehood. You have to use your free will and let your intellect freely acting and come to a conclusion that is your conclusion. This is the misunderstood point. My conclusion is subjective to me. It is my property, if you like. If you like, it is not a completely right sentence, but I am created with this property. Belief is given to me by my creator. It is my the grace of my creator. That's why I am sensitive about the language I'm using here. But practically speaking, this belongs to me. That is my conclusion. The other one says, in another language, saying that this happened randomly as a result of random activities of the matter itself. Okay? You have to think and come to the conclusion. Now, the problem is we have to pay attention about this point. My conclusion is subjective to me doesn't mean that if my conclusion is true, truth is subjective. No, truth must be by definition objective reality. That is why I said on the other day that we talked about this subject a little bit, not in details like we are doing today. The only absolute truth, positive reality is God, the creator, the source of this existence, whoever he is, source of this creation. But another reality that is related to me, the universe itself represents that it needs to be given existence. It has no quality whatsoever that it can exist by itself. It can be an eternal being. Eternal being cannot be subject to change. It is impossible for my human mind to accept it. So what the universe refers to is the absolute truth, and what it is referred as to be the source of existence of the universe is the absolute truth. I have to be careful about my subjective conclusion to coincide with absolute truth. I have to be extremely careful not to come to a conclusion and accept it for myself, which contradicts the true nature of absolute truth represented by the creation. That is why we are, in the Quranic language, advised to be very careful not to misinterpret the universe. Now, you understood that we keep repeating this point as the most important message of the Quran. La ilaha is my responsibility. It means be careful. Nothing can have an absolute reality by itself. Only it is given existence by an absolute creator. Nothing can be absolute in and of itself. Be careful with this language. Nothing can be absolute truth in and of itself. It means the source of its existence must be the absolute truth when the thing is accepted by human consciousness as to be given existence by the absolute truth, in its positive truth in the language of today's language, truth, then I am aligned with what the universe is declaring to me. And although my conclusion is subjective to me, but the content of my conclusion, if it is incongruent with what the reality of the universe is, it is absolute truth. If it is not in harmony with, incongruent with the reality of the universe, it is not absolute truth. It is my personal conclusion, but not representing the absolute truth. That is why I have to be careful about La ilaha. The Quran's suggestion is this: be careful whether you see any evidence in the existence of anything. It declares that I exist by myself because of this quality in me is my own production. Quran challenges nothing at all can claim this. There is no evidence for it. We have to think whether this claim is correct or not. Think about it. Take into consideration that a book which is speaking too big, I am the speech of the creator of this universe, says La ilaha in this word. There is no divine power. It means absolute power in this world. All manifestations of the absolute being. It means absolute reality, absolute truth. If I acknowledge absolute truth, I can say I found it. This finding is mine, but I must be confident that what I found it really compatible with what exactly the universe refers to. We will study, inshallah, from next week onwards, what is the difference between the result of the wisdom of the Quran, which teaches me how I should interpret the creation, and the results of the sciences of philosophy, which means the personal interpretations of the philosophers who are called nowadays scientists. I have to see the difference between scientists' personal interpretation who never pays attention to the wisdom of the Quran and interprets the creation as it is happening by itself, not referring to its source of existence, who must be, by definition, an absolute being, therefore absolute truth, absolute reality. We will see what the Quran is saying is compatible with absolute truth. What the scientists are saying has nothing to do with absolute truth. That's why it is titled as personal philosophy. It means that's your made-up story. Doesn't represent the truth. We will see in different field of the explanation in the following paragraphs next week, inshallah. So suddenly something happened that our this a regular moderator happened to be in a place where there is no internet, and last minute he told me this, let me know this. So I prepared myself and studied the text, got ready. Now, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you have any other comment, anything, please let me know. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Inshallah, everything is clear what I said. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. See you on Monday, Wednesday, and next week.
Ali Abi, I wanted to ask you one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, regarding those who believe, which means you said believer, it should be now. So sometimes Quran addresses are like Muslimun, like Muslims, and sometimes human beings. So whatever like God wants to emphasize according to that content, the teaching, whatever He wants to guide us. Like I found like more, is it always Quran prefers, like for example, if you put two human beings in here, like mercy and healings for two human beings. So theoretically, yes, but in practically, not all two human beings, those who believe practically. Is it that's why Quran usually or maybe always choose the practically manners that it didn't put human beings for?
No, it is a mercy for believers, but Quran's addressee is all human being. There's a confusion there to me. If you really decide to find out the truth, Quran says, I am leading you to the truth. When you confirm the truth, be careful, not the Quran. When you confirm the truth, consequently confirming what the Quran says, you are a believer. And then you will find a mercy for you that your feelings will be absolutely satisfied, not despaired. That is why the Quran says, I am a mercy for believers. If someone doesn't believe in the Quran, so Quran is not a mercy for him, but it doesn't mean he is not addressing to human beings. That is this person's personal choice. He blocked it. For example, sun emits light for all beings on earth. Okay. Somebody closes his windows and doors and his roof and closes his eyes, the sunlight doesn't help him, doesn't show him anything, him or her, anything. So it doesn't mean that sunlight is not going to some people's house or some people's eyes. It goes, but if I close it, I will be deprived of it. We should be very careful. In some places, the Quran doesn't use the noun form, mu'minun, but it uses verb. It means in the context of that verse, in the context of that verse or that word, amenu, in the past tense, is the verbal form. It means a person who believes in this particular message. But mu'minun, all messages in general. And it's the status. For example, I may believe in somebody as telling me the truth, but 2 years later, I may discover that he is not a truth teller, or it means narrators, truthful man. I say, no, I don't believe in him as the truthful man, trustworthy man. It's a verb related to particular case, but these noun forms are related to permanent cases. This is the general principles of reading the Quran. So when it says Muslim, Aslamtu bi Rabbil Alamin. In this case, I submitted my existence to the creator, owner, manager, administrator of the universe. They call it Lord of the universe. That is what Aslamtu means. Muslimun means he accepted as his profession to submit himself to the creator of the universe. In any case, good or bad, whatever happens. That is what Muslim means in the Quranic language. These are, they may sound as if technical matters, but these are essential matters to communicate with the Quran and also with the message of the messengers, prophets. So I see that the people are reading the prophetic message, not being careful what it is referring to, really. We have to be careful. We have to learn it. We have to be careful with the context. We have to be careful with the mission, the purpose in speech of the Quran or in actions of the Prophet. These are important matters that we have to study or refer to from time to time to remind each other, because I feel we are missing a lot. In the culture, we are missing everything. Almost everything.
It is, yeah, depending on the teaching, the context of that ayat, yeah. What about for example, when we used to study about Prophet Muhammad's time historically, what Muslim means, but what Muslims mean, like what Quran refers to as a Muslim, is it the same of what historically is Muslim? No.
I understand.
How are you going to reconcile this?
Agabe, I understood. When the Quran says Muslim, when the prophetic languages uses Muslim, is not completely different, but Quran's word Muslim, universal, prophet's message, then the speech, Muslim, is the practice of the universal message. It means in real life representation. When Quran says Muslim, it means a person or plural Muslimun, people who submit their existence to their creator, saying that I don't belong, my existence doesn't belong to me, it belongs to my creator. That is what the Quran's language is. The one who submits its reality, its existence to its creator. It is a universal message. Now, when the prophet uses Muslim, he, within his own historical context, addressing those people who submit themselves to his message, saying that I am a member of this community. But it doesn't necessarily mean I have submitted my whole existence or whole life experiences to my creator. I am a member of this society. So it is the practical side of it. The Quran is the constitution. The Prophet's language is, if you like, law. So referring to a particular case, making it practical. So when I should understand the universal message in the language of the Quran, I should understand the specific application of this word related to a specific community. But is there no universal message in the teachings of the Quran, Prophet, and in the language of the Prophet? Yes. What you have to do, you have to refer it to your real life experience. Am I being a Muslim here? It means submitting my reality to its creator in this particular relationship. For example, practical example. I am eating my dinner with my friends. I keep talking about the dinner, but I don't refer it as the means of acknowledging the qualities of its creator. I am not a Muslim. Although my title, I am a member of Muslim community. In that particular event, I'm not a Muslim. So when the Prophet says, "Oh, Muslimun," Muslims, say Bismillah, say Alhamdulillah, the beginning there, it is a general statement, but in his particular life context, addressing to certain people who declare themselves as the member of that community. So we have to make the distinction. That is why we have to be very careful about the languages and our usage of it. That's I keep saying this. This cultural religion makes everything so meaningless, superficial. That is why we should be always careful. All right, inshallah, it has been, oh man, it's too late. Inshallah, we have to close here. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.